CDawgVA, I've covered him before. In fact, he's one of like the top 10 videos on my channel is covering this dude. And I don't think he's a grifter. I don't. Because grifter means you're selling a lie. I think he believes this shit. The thing is, he's speaking out both sides of his mouth because even if he believes it, he doesn't hold any true opinions. And now he wants to get into the good graces of the anti-censorship crew after clamoring for censorship in anime for years. Let's check it out.
This clip is currently going viral right now in the anime and manga community, and a lot of people are having animosity towards this clip, anger, people discussing censorship, people discussing why anime and manga is being advocated to be banned, and people also talking about how there's been a rise of people saying that fiction is very problematic. So let's play this clip, and then let's discuss why people are actually upset with it.
And before we play this clip, I just need to remind you guys that this dude, what he is about to say, keep in mind that 6-8 months ago, I don't remember how long ago it was, someone put a lolly statue on the trash taste table in front of him, and the other two dudes, Joey and I forget the other guy's name, like, because they're anime fans. Whether you like them or not is irrelevant. I'm not exactly a fan of trash taste, but Joey is at least a real anime fan. Giguk, that was Giguk, he is as well. Connor outright said until meeting these guys and being part of like the Japanese YouTube crew, he was never an anime guy. He was a voice actor, but he did voice acting for like commercials and audiobooks. He didn't get into anime until really hanging around these guys. And so when they put this lolly statue, this lolly action figure on the table in front of him, he did this performative freak out, basically equating it to pedophilia, talking about how disgusting it is. Well, listen to him now.
Young people and audiences, older people too, have been like, they're like not brainwashed, but like fucking coached into like seeing things that are problematic and thinking like, what is this?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna say something, but I'll wait. I'll wait till the clip is played before I actually say my piece here, because I think it's very important, the entire context.
This is not a reflection of me or my character. It's like, bro, you played a game. It's like, if I played Sino Uta, this doesn't mean I'm a fan. I'm a #1 like stan of Uta. I love everything about it. It's like,
yeah.
For those that don't know, Sayano Uta is a visual novel game. It's
Here we go. This is the sort of thing that for the last several years he has been clamoring to have censored. What, now he's openly saying he's a fan of the game? He's played the game? Then why are you, when the camera's on, because we all know that these people don't believe that. Like, there's some that do, right? There are obviously some people that are so brain broken, they want their anime and their manga and their video games censored because for whatever reason, they can't tell the difference between pictures and real fucking humans. I'm not even going to say children, because a lot of these times they're not children. They're just drawn, petite or whatnot, because they can't tell the difference between art and reality. They're so brain broken, they want that censorship. But let's be real. Most of these people only say it for performative outrage points on the internet when you know good goddamn well they're playing this shit when the camera's off.
It's a good one. It's really good, but there's a lot of screwed up stuff in it. Like, if you have ever played Sayano Uta, which I played it back in like 2011, it's been a long time. Okay, I don't remember every single detail of it, but there is a lot of dark content within Sayano Uta, and there's a lot of things that you're just not going to straight up agree with. But at the same time,
guess what? There's a lot of dark content in Berserk as well. There's a lot like, hey, I like Berserk. Doesn't mean that I'm a fan of rape, but it's in the fucking manga and it's in the anime. Why? Because it's kind of necessary to the story and to the characters. Like, that's how most people's brain works. Oh, it's a story. Oh, it's fake. It's fictional. Obviously, that doesn't mean you agree with it. So why on God's green earth would you be asking for it to be censored if you're openly saying, well, yeah, I don't live my life by these rules, but it's good for the story. But that's the type of performative outrage that these people peddle.
Very thought-provoking story. And I think what Connor is trying to say here is just because if you like, let's say, the game of Sayano Uta and you play the game, doesn't necessarily mean you agree with every single thing that happens within it, even if you're a mega fan of it. But let's continue the clip.
Experience the story that was on offer. Yeah. And I think people are afraid to jump or be seen playing games like this because they're like, it's like, bro, that is not even remotely close to the truth. And then when you boil down conversations like that of discussing media like this, you are absolutely robbing any nuance in any way to discuss these things.
You don't get to talk about nuance, homie. You don't get to sit there and talk about nuance when you threw a bitch fit about a lolly statue being put on the table in front of you while you were streaming. Or while you were recording your podcast, whatever it was. Maybe it wasn't live. The point is, even funnier if they weren't live, because that means they didn't clip that, they didn't cut that, they didn't think, wow, You think that maybe that was a overreaction. And by the way, Giga, Joey, while I believe that they are actually real anime fans, the fact that they don't say anything or trying to stop him when he has those performance freak out moments, be like, dude, what are you doing here? That's some tourist ass behavior. It goes to show that they're complicit in it, in my opinion.
So that is the clip that's going viral right now. And the reason why, if you haven't caught on, is because, for one, this conversation very much is probably one of the biggest conversations for anime, manga, and light novels and gaming in the 2020s. And I think everybody at this point has seen the radical shift in terms of like just how different these communities are in comparison to what they were prior to COVID. And I don't know that I would say there's a radical shift. I would say there's a radical divide. Because yes, you've got the COVID tourists that came in during the lockdowns. They didn't know what anime was. They only watched Demon Slayer, maybe Attack on Titan, some of like the big shonen that were on Netflix or whatever. And they have this idea in their head of what anime is, which obviously is not the case. Anime is a very, very vast medium. Manga is a very vast medium. Gaming is a very vast medium with all sorts of different things. You can pick stuff you like, stuff you don't, the whole nine. So there's a divide because, yeah, the tourists came in, they have this idea of what anime is, and then they do what tourists are always want to do, which is change it. Then you've got the original individuals, the OG fans, like you, me, all of us here, or at least a lot of you guys, kind of the vast majority of my audience are anime/manga fans, and you're like, yeah, we don't want this to change. We love it for what it is. This is why we like it. And you had people like Connor here, who was one of the ones that wanted things to change. Oh, it would be better. It would be more welcoming. It would be more inclusive if we were just to tone down some of the things that makes anime and manga so intrinsically anime and manga and so intrinsically Japanese. And now with the rise of anti-censorship, as it should be, by the way, but with the rise of people actually being vocal and saying, yeah, maybe we want the big titty girls in our anime. Maybe we want the fan service. Maybe we want the blood and the gore and the rape scenes and shit like that because it's fucking fictional. We don't like our stuff being censored. Now that that's become common, people aren't getting, fired from their job and harassed off the internet and whatnot, and they can actually say it, and at the end of the day, it just sort of rolls off their back. Like, yeah, go ahead. Dogpile on me on X. You bought all your likes anyway. Now that people are saying this, now Connor feels safe in admitting what was probably his actual opinion all along, which is, I don't like seeing this stuff fucked with. But he wasn't going to say that because, oh man, my credibility is on the line. Our sponsorships are on the line. The way that my leftist Hassan Piker fan base is looking at me, because we've had Hassan on the show multiple times. They're here. They're watching me. I have to be a good little boy for the camera. Well, now what I would assume would be the truth comes out. Or even worse, maybe this isn't the truth. Maybe he's saying this now because, just like when I cover it, or when Espiritu covers it, or when Chibi covers it, it's the popular thing to say. Briefly touched upon this in the past, and I feel like it's time I really sit down and do a full-blown dedicated video to really discussing actually who is causing these problems and everything. But the reason why this clip is going viral, and also why people are upset that Connor from Trash Taste is the one saying this, is because of this clip that has become very viral as well over the years and constantly reappears here and there. And it's basically Connor's reaction to a figure, an anime figure. And I'm going to play the clip. I'll let you see it. I'm just going to, let you see what Connor says and how he reacts to an anime figure, fictional content. And then this is being compared to his new statement, and people are calling out the hypocrisy. But let me just...
I can judge.
What the fuck?
Ladies and gentlemen, that I shout out Eromanga Sensei just for gone.
There we go. Let's get a good look at this right here.
Ladies and gentlemen, that I shout out Eromanga Sensei.
No, what the fuck? Oh man, so big. This is such a problem. This is so problematic. It's just a fucking cute anime girl in some skimpy clothes. Not even really that skimpy, actually. By anime standards, not that skimpy. Like compare this right here. Compare this figure. So my girl Maureen from My Dress Up Darling, right? Like this is way more revealing. Now, mind you, again, My Dress Up Darling, great anime. Fucking great anime. But that figure ain't nowhere near as revealing as this, right? The dude is so bitch made, but again, performative. I don't think he actually held that opinion. When he says, what the fuck, I don't think he actually, or again, maybe he does, which would make it worse, but this is just outrage for the camera because he needs to be seen as the good guy.
Just for gone. Everybody, round of applause.
Well done, Joey. Well done.
I'm proud of you. Proud of you, Joey.
Are we going to prison?
Even though I saw about 10 Eromanga Sensei figures along the way.
Why is there so many?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's popular enough, I guess. It's actually not too bad, to be honest with you. I'm not exactly a fan of Eromanga Sensei, but this is actually a pretty solid.
I think you'd have the FBI knocking if you said you were.
Well, I mean, God should be.
See, again, I've covered this clip before. If you guys, it's on my channel. You guys can watch the video. But the idea, him perpetuating bullshit like that, because we're talking about this is the most basic normie entry-level podcast for any, quote-unquote anime fan or whatnot, is Trash Taste. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure they are the most popular, the biggest anime-themed podcasts on the internet. So when you've got somebody who is part of the largest anime podcast, in the entire platform, saying things like, oh, if you're a fan of this anime, you're gonna have the FBI knocking at your door. Then to pivot years later, be like, well, no, I don't want censorship. It's just a story. Why can't people just enjoy it? You'll wonder why the internet's been calling your ass out all weekend.
Used to that by now.
So I think you understand. The very person that Connor is calling out within this clip that is now going viral is basically himself. Now, okay, I'm going to be completely blunt here. I don't actively watch Trash Taste continuously. I watch a few things here and there, but it's not a podcast I actively follow. I'm just going to be completely blunt. And to be completely honest here, I do like, for instance, like Joey and stuff on them.
I like Joey as well. Or at least I used to. I used to like Joey a lot. I used to, and you know what? Paul, Future in the chat can confirm this. He and I used to sit down on the couch, watch Joey videos all the fucking time. We watched early CDawg videos as well, like before he actually joined the Trash Taste crew. But yeah, Joey was great, and he might still be. I still every now and again from time to time check up on him, watch his videos, but he does a whole lot less anime now, and it's just like Japanese culture in general. Still interesting, but by the same token, it's not why I was subbed to you. Kind of like Eric July. Like, I like Eric July. I was watching him for years, but I was watching him for his libertarian politics and his anarcho-capitalist takes and whatnot. Not really for his comics. So when he pivoted to the comic stuff, I stopped watching less. I stopped watching just in general. I don't really care. No shade to him, but that's not why I was subbed to your channel. So I've watched, and me and Cinny on like Neon Leon have covered a couple of Joey videos that are relatively recent, and he seems like he's mostly on the relatively base side of anime. He did make a video calling out the concept of tourism. He was talking about some anti-censorship stuff. Joey's kind of this weird mixed bag, but overall, I would definitely say I don't know much about Giguk. I'm gonna be real. I don't know much about Giguk at all. I've seen a handful of his videos my entire life. But Joey seems to be your average real deal anime fan. Connor, on the other hand, is a tourist. I don't know which way he leans. He's a tourist, either trying to placate people on the right wing now, or the anti-censorship side or whatnot, or he's a tourist and that he was never an anime fan. He's just using it for the Trash Taste grift. Or hey, maybe he's talked about how he wasn't an anime fan, except for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. That was like the one anime he watched. To be fair, great anime. Love me some JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. If that's what it took to get you to watch other stuff, and maybe he actually really does enjoy anime now, and he's grown to love it over the years he's been on YouTube and stuff. That is totally possible. That being said, if you do love it, if you are what you claim, if you're going to be on these anime podcasts, and then you're going to talk about how, the FBI is going to be knocking your door if you're a fan of that, well, then you're not a fan of anime, all right? You're not a fan of anime. You're a fan of the community and the culture around it, because that's what brings in the dollary dues.
I love, Giguk and all that. I love the individuals that are on Trash Taste. I have talked with them in the past. They're pretty good dudes. They've been nice to me.
That's
but
cool.
I also am someone that will not sugarcoat things, and I will be completely blunt about how I feel about stuff. And in this case, Connor in general, even if at the time period when he made this a few years back, let's say he is just memeing around and he isn't being truthful. However, his words from a massive voice like him, he's a massive content creator, way more successful than me. His voice echoes out, and there is a lot of people around this time period, especially that were basically saying the exact same words as he's saying. Any form of content, let's say Eromanga Sensei, Nagatoro, anything that is not mainstream shonen, for instance, like JJK, Chainsaw Man and stuff, or Demon Slayer, it is deemed problematic. And in this case, his very reaction, even if it's being played up for the memes and engagement, it paints a very big picture of he is doing the very thing that he is complaining about in this new viral clip from 2026. That is now like everybody's talking about, because he is someone that is basically breaking down all nuance and everything. Someone that is basically saying fictional content is very problematic. problematic and all that. You can't engage with it in any way. And, sure, we might say maybe this is a very different type of conversation because that's a figure and he's just talking about a visual novel. But the point here is that
I don't see how it would be a different type of conversation at all. Whether it's a visual novel or whether it's a figure, I mean, they both effectively serve the same purpose. You visually enjoy it. You take the figure out the box, you put it up on your shelf, you admire it. It looks nice. I got me a whole lot of figures over here, right? This top row, all the badass dudes of anime, plus Billy Idol, and this bottom row, all the hot chicks in anime, plus a Fallout girl there in the background. The point is, they're there to be visually admired, which is the same thing as a visual novel. It's a semi-interactive video game that tells a story that you visually admire. So I don't see how the conversation would be different in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, it's my nuance, my media literacy.
He is boiling down conversations and joy of fictional content and just saying everything is basically problematic media. And, that's what he did in the past. But now he's saying it's a problem. And he doesn't understand why it is a problem. And I'm just like, bro, Connor, man, I have no hate towards you. But you are legitimately, you're talking about yourself. You are. But, even if we want to disregard that, okay, let's just say that this is not an example that matters, okay? What we do need to point out here is that the real issues and who is actually causing these problems, I'm just going to say it. The real people that are causing these issues are
mostly leftists. Mostly the white liberal bitch that thinks that anime needs to become more inclusive to include all the people that have had the door shut on them for so long. And when I say leftists, this is an interesting thing because traditional leftism has actually always been anti-censorship itself. It's this rise of new modern leftism. Basically, let's be real, commies. It's the goddamn communists. But this is one of those rare things where actual individuals on the left and people on the right are more or less aligned because censorship of any overarching body, be it government, be it corporate, is a bad thing, and it's giving us less of what we love. Really no different than getting rid of physical media for PlayStation, for example, right? This is something that's such a universal thing. Most people of the average opinion are going to agree on this. Hey, yeah, maybe you vote Democrat, right? Maybe you're I like free healthcare and high taxes and whatnot. Well, first of all, I think you're an idiot. But you know what? There's a debate to be had there. There is not a debate to be had with these commie bastards that think, oh, these anime figures, having anime figures like this is tantamount to pedophilia. So yeah, when Connor is talking about himself, which he absolutely is, you got to ask, does he have the self-awareness? Does he know? Does he realize? Have his opinions actually matured and nuanced? Or is he doing it now because, well, now it's safe to say? Oh, now the sponsors aren't going to drop you for having an opinion like this.
Are pretty much crazy leftists, the same people that ruined gaming, ruined Western media. And I know that this is going to upset a lot of people, but honestly, I don't care. I don't care if it makes people upset and all that. The point is that everybody knows, everybody sees it. It's just people are too scared to actually say it because they feel like they're going to get canceled or they're going to be spammed with hate and slander. And to be honest with you, I get slander and hate all the time, so I don't really care. I really don't. I'm just going to say it like it is because other people are too afraid to say it. The point,
and honestly, first of all, same, feel you, Chibi. But also, I don't think that Connor can do that. When he said, when they brought Hamas, Osama bin Laden, Epstein, dog shucker, fucker, piker on the show, and he had his big meltdown. Oh, I don't know why everybody freaked out about it. I guess we didn't know there was such a crusade against Hassan because we don't live on Twitter. It's because you can't. I feel like Connor, probably too weak a dude to be on X because any little criticism of him will send him spiraling. He lives and needs the adoration of the individuals that watch him. Y'all know how many viewers I've lost because while live I've said, go fuck yourself, you're an idiot, you're wrong, fuck off. Guess what? Don't cost me a goddamn thing to not have you as a viewer anymore. I don't care because I'm not going to placate my own beliefs, my own morals, my own ethics, the whole nine, just to appease the audience. I don't think Connor's like that, and not in the slightest. I think he's freaks out. And again, I'm just guessing. I don't know, Connor, but the behavior seems to be that of the type of individual who can't live terminally online because any bit of criticism will make him spiral.
It is that, yes, it is crazy left-leaning people that come into the space and want to change things and have a problem with any form of problematic media. Basically, when anime started getting extremely popular in the 2020s, a lot of people from, for instance, the West that really like certain media that's been catering to them for the last decade, they tried to dive in and fundamentally change anime and manga. We know this. I have talked about this in pretty much dozens upon dozens of videos. They are individuals that have come in to basically call anything that is from Japan problematic media. It's the truth. It is. Now, I'm not saying that this is just radical leftists or leftists that do this. There is people on the right that I've seen.
He is correct. I do see this mentality from a lot of motherfuckers on the right. Again, Matt Walsh, whether he was being sarcastic when he said or not, Matt Walsh still said anime is satanic. And you had a bunch of right-leaning motherfuckers in the comment section underneath them claiming the exact same thing. Oh, they're not going to watch anime. Pokemon. Dude, I went to a small... I grew up in the Midwest. You live in a small town, right? We had... So at one point, I lived in a town that had barely over 1,000 people. Before that, it was a slightly bigger town. We had 7,000 people. Bro, they banned Yu-Gi-Oh! Because that shit was satanic. You couldn't wear Halloween costumes at school on Halloween in elementary school because that shit was satanic. Like, yeah, I've been there. I get it. El Murdoch with the two-banger. God, I hate these LA streamers, LARPing little shits. But they're not LA streamers. That's the thing. They're in Japan. That's what makes this even worse. They're in Japan actively trying to change the culture. I say they. Joey, not so much. Joey, he speaks the language. In fact, he speaks the language fluently. He's also part Japanese. Pretty sure Joey's mom is Japanese. He speaks the language fluently. He is invested in the culture. He wants Japan to stay as it is. It's so wild that he's friends with Connor, which is the antithesis to everything that Joey talks about and stands for. Evan coming in, sadly, I suspect the freak out is more honest than his current take. I don't know. I don't know which is more honest, and that's a problem. If you're going to be an internet figure, if you're going to be a sense of authority or whatever on the internet, you got to have authenticity. And at what point did Connor lose his authenticity? Because when I see him speaking out two sides of his mouth like this, you have to wonder what one was the real take. Shout out, thank you for the 5-banger. I believe he said this because media he like go a to get. I don't know what you mean, Murbaugh. Sorry, bro. I believe he said this because media he liked. Oh, because media he liked got attacked. He said this because media he liked got attacked. You're probably right. And in fact, there's a lot of people like that. Oh, they're pro censorship. It doesn't matter. Like, hey, what's wrong? Oh, you want to see the child that looks like a 6-year-old, the character that looks like a 6-year-old? You want to see its feet? You fucking pedo, because it's an anime or a manga or a video game or whatever that they don't like. But then it comes with something they like, and all of a sudden they hop on that anti-censorship train. You're probably correct. El Murbaugh with a 5-banger and says, I wouldn't hate COVID colonizers. They learn what I learned growing up. Don't like ignore it, but no, it must change it all. Yeah, COVID colonizers are they are who were to blame, at least partially, for the state that anime is in right now. Thank you for the 5-banger.
Radical Christians or radical right-leaning people that do the exact same thing, that want pro-censorship. Both sides are inherently an issue. But I'm just saying, in terms of the overwhelming, there is one side that does have an overwhelming monopoly of calling everything problematic. And it is definitely those
in the LA scene. He was originally in the UK. I don't think Connor ever streamed from America. I could be wrong, and someone in the chat, if you guys know, correct me, but I'm pretty sure he went from the UK to Japan. There was no LA scene. I'm pretty sure.
Individuals that I've already spoken about. And so here's the thing. It's a lot of people. There's a lot more nuance to this conversation, I think, that I should talk about. Because obviously I'm boiling it down to just people from one political side. But I feel like I need to start from the very beginning on kind of...
Well, the reason we're boiling it down to people from one political side is because, yes, while it happens on both sides, it's overwhelming on one more so than the other. Yeah, you got Matt Walsh say dumb shit. Yeah, you got Jack Prosobic say dumb shit. But guess what? Matt Walsh, Jack Prosobic, they're dumb shits. They're going to say dumb shit. But in all reality, the individuals of a right-leaning persuasion, whether they be content creators, whether they be average regular folk like you guys, me, the whole nine, if you're more right-leaning, odds are you're more pro freedom of expression because you don't want overarching powers, whether it be government, corporate, otherwise, telling people how to live their lives, which includes with the creation of the media. And the leftists overwhelmingly want to meddle in that. So yes, while both sides do it, if it's a 70-30 issue, you need to mostly attack the 70. Yeah, don't take your eye off the 30, but mostly attack the 70.
where this happened. And I know, because I've been in the community basically since the early 2000s. Now, obviously, there's people that have decades over me on top of that, but I feel like as someone that has seen kind of the rise of anime over the years, I can definitely put a good origin point, a turning point to where the anime fully went mainstream. And that was 100% Demon Slayer. Now, anime was already rising in popularity thanks to SAO and Attack on Titan. I'm not going to act like it wasn't, but it didn't really like hit a massive, overwhelming mainstream audience until Demon Slayer exploded all over the internet. TikTok, Instagram.
This is one of my biggest disagreements with Chibi. One of my I am of the belief that anime was already gaining mainstream success, mind you, with the advent of Toonami in the late 90s and early 2000s. Then Naruto hits the scene. Naruto becomes the biggest thing ever. But really, I think anime hit true mainstream status with AOT. And I agree, by the way, AOT is overhyped. I don't like AOT. I think AOT fucking sucks. Season 1 was all right, and it's just all downhill from there. Yeah, I remember pre-Toonami, as do I. Yeah, Toonami, Adult Swim. That was when it was gaining mainstreamification. It was not COVID that made it mainstream. It was not COVID colonizers are not what made anime mainstream. They're what put the divide within a community. But Attack on Titan, roughly the 2012 era, that's what made it mainstream. When Netflix in around like 2010, 2012 said, we're going to start specifically catering to anime. Like they put out this whole press conference. If you're Netflix and you're the biggest streamer in the world and you're publicly saying we're going to be investing way more into anime between 2010 and 2012, at that point, yeah, that's mainstream.
Twitter, YouTube, Reddit, Facebook, it was everywhere. I remember the day it happened. It was trending and it was very new and brand new for an anime to do that. Nowadays, you can see anime trending all the time, but for its time period, Demon Slayer was something super unique. It trended for days for one specific episode, and that was not normal. It wasn't for that time period at all. And so when it started to trend, it exploded conversation. And then a few months later, COVID hit. And obviously, at this time period, a lot of people that probably heard about Demon Slayer through word of mouth or memes or whatever decided to sit down and watch the show. And obviously, they
didn't. They decided to get on TikTok and watch edits. That's what it is. They decided to get on TikTok and watch edits of the show and think they understood what anime was. I'll remember with the two-banger. I also blame TikTok during. See? I just said it, did I not? I just said it. Shout out. Thank you for the two-banger, homie.
They liked it because it was fundamentally different than everything else that they experienced from Western media. Go figure. But the thing here is that a lot of people that would have never engaged with, for instance, anime or manga, it finally engaged with anime and manga. Now, I'm not saying every individual that came into the community.
Yeah, there we go. Netflix invested $7 billion into anime production, distribution, things like that. This is pre-COVID. We're talking like 2012 when Netflix did this. You don't invest $7 billion into something if it's not already mainstream enough to where you think you can, make money off of a $7 billion investment.
Was bad actors that want to change everything and label everything problematic. However, there is a lot of people that, for instance, are more or less the bullies that used to bully you for anime. Someone that would throw you in the locker if you would have mentioned that you like Dragon Ball in the early 2000s. Those individuals decided to jump into the anime community, and they are now.
It's funny he used Dragon Ball as the example because it was literally Dragon Ball. That's why it happened to me in 6th grade.
The anime community.
Shout out Mr. Clark, 6th grade social studies teacher, for not letting me out of the locker.
Infiltrating it like parasites, and basically they will only accept the mainstream, and anything beyond that is problematic media. They will think anything needs to be basically, you need to be bullied and beat down if you like anything that's outside of like JJK, Chainsaw Man, and Demon Slayer. For instance, if you like something like that is considered technically normie anime, Food Wars and Nagatoro, you are problematic. You are a weirdo that needs to be gelled. Even Arrow Manga Sensei, that, we saw Connor's reaction to, Arrow Manga Sensei is normie. It is really, really freaking normie. Like, in the 2010s, everybody would agree with me that Arrow Manga Sensei is an extremely normie series. It's nothing revolutionary. It's nothing too extreme or anything like that. But apparently, in this day and age, in the 2020s, something like that is considered very, very extreme.
And that is the sanitization of our media, and worse than that, our community. Like, the sanitization that you can take something, again, like Dragon Ball, something as normie friendly as you can get. Not Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball, the one that has far more comedy to it. You got Bulma showing her pussy and stuff like that for jokes, and Roshi getting his nosebleeds. The fact that is attacked by the modern day leftist discourse on the internet, something that was done as a comedy gag in 1986. And you want to compare Dragon Ball to the shit that we like? Let's leave off the extreme shit. Let's just talk about Dragon Ball compared to what we're getting nowadays, bro. It is sad. Don't forget Crunchyroll, being the bitch-made homos they are, completely discontinued, or maybe it was Funimation. I don't remember. Maybe it was Funimation. Either way, discontinued their dub after one episode of Interspecies Reviewers. God, Interspecies Reviewers ain't even that bad. Interspecies Reviewers ain't even that extreme, bro. You goddamn kidding me. The sanitization of I was gonna say our culture. It's not even our culture, right? It's Japan's culture, and we are fans of it. We are privileged enough to get to experience it because, frankly, they make a lot of money off weebs like us. But that's neither here nor there. Fact of the matter is, they are bending their culture for us and, frankly, for the infected leftist youth within their own country. And we're about a 5-banger. Something I want to ask a fellow veteran otaku. Do you think if streaming never snatched up anime, it'd be different or just take longer? I would say take longer. I think this would still happen because politics are not downstream from culture. Culture is downstream from politics. Regardless of streaming, this is the politics would have always ended up here. So downstream, it would have happened to anime, but I do think it would have taken longer. And in fact, about a 5-banger, I would argue that you're right about AOT era made mainstream push. The Demon Slayer era brought out the LARPers. You see it exactly. That Demon Slayer era brought out the LARPers. Fucking exactly. And then thank you for the correction, Vagabond. Funimation with Interspecies Reviewers before they were bought with Crunchyroll. That's why I started saying Crunchyroll. I was like, I think I'm wrong. I got my timelines mixed up. I appreciate the correction. Thank you. So thank you, Vagabond, and thank you, Merval, for the donos.
So what I'm saying is that a lot of people, a lot of bullies and stuff got into the media and they started to basically LARP as anime fans. That's pretty much what it is. So yeah, I feel like the reason why we have that, there's a lot of sensitive people that like to have everything sanitized and boiled down because it's just too problematic for them. And it's those same people that ruined gaming in Western media. So my camera...
I remember when Nux did that. Like, that was, again, ask Future. Ask Future in the chat. He and I are OG Nux fans. We were watching Nux when he was a PNG tuber, when he was doing like biggest flexes in anime. Like, we are OG Nux fans. I absolutely remember when he said to flood my anime list to rate Interspecies Reviewers a 10. Nah, what good times.
Just died, but I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching my content. May all of you be safe, stay healthy, and I love you guys. Chibi out.
Love to see it. Excellent video. Dropping it in the comments for you guys. At the end of the day, Connor's getting dogged on. Connor's getting absolutely clowned on. I mean, shit, I'm a fucking nobody. In my post about Connor, let me see if I can find it. How well did my post about Connor do? Let's see. Let's scroll through here real quick. Because I'm a nobody on X. There we go. Yeah, I'm sitting at 806 likes, 90 retweets, almost 8,000 views on my nobody account. Like right now, well, I don't know if it's still going on, but a couple days ago, that was the cheat code to get interaction on X, dude. That was the cheat code to just talk shit on Connor after that video went viral. And at the end of the day, I don't think there's any saving him or not saving him. That sounds weird, but like there is no way for him to save face. That's a better way to put it at this point. No matter what he says, he's going to be looked at as a tourist by one side or the other. If he actually does go this route of, hey guys, it's a story. It's just a game. It's just an anime. It's just a manga, whatever. Enjoy it for what it is or choose something else. If he goes that route, well, then all those people that he was performing for prior to this are going to now come out with their torches and pitchforks. Oh, Joey, you were the chosen one. You were one of us. We don't want to see lollies in our anime because that's pedophile stuff, even though, ironically enough, leftists are so often fucking pedophiles. That's neither here nor there. Or he can, turns out this is a grift and he actually does still care about the censorship and it wasn't performed to be at all, and he wants to change the culture of Japan. Well, yeah, he's the same enemy he's always been. So there is no winning. There's no way for him to save face. Obviously, this is not going to impact Trash Taste at all. They're still going to get their views. They're still going to get their sponsors. They're still going to get that bag. But at the end of the day, it's just another a reminder of where the discourse is going. Now that it is safe to say the opinions that people like you and me have always been saying. Now these tourists and these LARPers are going to be having those opinions and pretend it's profound thought or pretend that they always felt this way.